So, Cole, good to be with you.
Good to be with you too.
You are currently playing baseball as a first baseman at Indian River State College.
Yes, sir.
And I actually met you, I think it was 4 years ago.
Yep.
It was 4 years ago at John Carroll when you played baseball there. And I'm just excited to sit down and ask you a few questions about what God's doing in your life. And want to start with the main thing. In the last 4 years, what has God done through your life through the ministry of FCA and our interactions and with the rest of our staff here in the Treasure Coast? What has the Lord done in your life through FCA?
Well, FCA, first of all, has been a huge part of my life. Obviously, when I was at John Carroll, that's when I first got in with FCA with you guys. And, at first, it was, I loved going to it just because I loved the atmosphere. I loved the people that were going with me. I loved everything about it. And then, as the years went on in high school and then I got to college was when it really changed for me because I have so many people, around me, and there's so many people that need to be saved, and you really start to see, the issues in the world, and it really helps you. FCA helps me personally feel like I have a good foundation and grounding in my faith, and it helps me be a light for other people, which is really my goal every day. That's all I try to do is be, a light for other people. And it's just been huge for me. It's taught me a lot about myself, my strengths and weaknesses as far as my faith go. And obviously a lot more about me than the people that are probably gonna be watching this. But yeah, I've been through a lot, and FCA has been there and kind of helped me get through the dark times, just as much as my family and everybody else.
Huge.
So, yeah.
So tell us though, with that said, what would you call the defining moment of your life? Or was there a moment or a time or a season where you felt like surrender was the recipe, where you said, all right, Jesus, I'm all in.
Yeah.
Enough playing around, let's go, let's do this.
Yep, it was, so last year, I'll spare the details, but last year, my freshman year at Indian River, I was going through a hard time. I had injured myself again. I was out again. I had only played one season in 4 years of baseball. So obviously, God had stripped me of my identity that I thought was my identity of baseball. And the defining moment was really coming in my sophomore year. This year, I was a redshirt freshman technically on the field. Coming in, it defined me because I really realized at that time that baseball and sports is not what life is really about. It's not the full, it's not the big scheme of things. Baseball is not going to be there forever. And I want to go to heaven just like everybody else should want to go to heaven. So I kind of learned through the tough times of not being able to play and not have the game that I love, that there's more to life, and Jesus is always seeking us out no matter what we're doing. He's always seeking us out. So that was a defining moment for me, and it taught me a lot. And now I'm back on the field, and now my faith is stronger than ever just because of everything I went through. It taught me to appreciate the times when I am doing what I love to do, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and doing it for the right reasons instead of doing it for myself, because that's not what it's about. When I was doing it for myself, it was tough. It wasn't pleasing. It wasn't satisfying. Now that I'm doing it for Jesus Christ, it's like if I have a bad game, that's not what defines me. If I have a great game, it's still not what defines me. But I don't get my fill, per se, through good games or bad games or whatever. I don't feel empty anymore when I have a bad game. So it's just been huge, and that was probably my defining moment was last year, coming into this year.
That's awesome. So along with that, just to continue to build on this, I'm thinking about every young athlete and just the kids that are longing one day to play college and maybe even pro ball. What would be your advice, whether it's a baseball player, basketball, no matter what sport, guy or girl, what's your advice with the talent that you've been gifted? How do you take that, not allow it to be your identity, but actually find a life in God and still be really good at a sport? What would you tell them?
Well, my first piece of advice is don't let yourself get to a point where I was at, where you have to literally go through the worst time of your life to learn about your identity, and that it's not grounded in your sport, it's grounded in your faith. I'd say start taking it seriously, that your identity is, what you do on the sports field is not what makes you who you are. It's what you do off the field, and it's what you do in other people's lives and your own life, and who you can touch every day on a daily basis. So I would just say, obviously continue to work hard for your sport, but stop focusing on doing it for yourself and your own gratification, and start doing it for our Heavenly Father. That's really, you know what I mean? Because that's the biggest lesson I've learned through this entire experience of being hurt getting it taken away and giving it back, and then all of a sudden it's just like been a whirlwind of things that have happened. And the biggest thing I've learned is that the identity thing, you know, just trusting and having faith that if you're meant to do, you know, if you're meant to be a college athlete, then you're going to do it.
Yeah.
And you're gonna do it well, because that's what your plan is in your life. And if you're not, then you're not, you know. But just give it everything you got and trust God's plan, because He has a plan for everybody.
That's good.
So,
Final question I want to ask you, and I've thought about this, and as a young person, with everything you just said, how would you say reading the scripture, praying daily, worshiping Jesus on a regular basis, not just on a Sunday per se, how has that actually shaped your identity as an athlete, and ultimately being an athlete and loving Jesus as the core, and then being an athlete, how has that shaped you?
well, I realized that being a seasonal Christian is not, it's wishy-washy. If you're a seasonal Christian and you go to church on Sunday and then Monday comes around and you go back to living your life like a hellion or whatever you want to call it, that's your word, then it's just not, it doesn't work out. You know, you're going to have good weeks and you're going to be like, oh yeah, I went to church, it helped me out a lot, you know, great. But then what I really realized is that, you know, the tough weeks are so much harder. They're so much tougher when you're not grounded in your faith, and you're not, you know, you're not doing what you're supposed to do on a daily basis. But reading the scripture is huge for me, because it's like one of those things where when I read it, it refreshes me. It's obviously the truth, you know, and sometimes as Christians we get these twisted images of what God's like, and that's what, you know, just like you talk about all the time. You preach to us in my group at FCA with the college kids. You tell us that, you know, the truth is in the Bible. That's where we get our facts. It's a factual book. You know what I mean? It's not a fictional book. So, you know, reading scripture and praying is huge for me, because it gives me that inner peace and feel. It makes me feel that the truth is the truth. It's almost like a way of just confirming that what I'm doing and why I'm living the way I'm living, why I'm doing it. You know what I mean? It gives me a reason to do it every day and wake up and try to live the best life I can live for the Lord. So that's kind of
Well, I just want to say, man, incredibly proud of you. Thanks for sitting down and taking the time to do this.
Love you, brother.
Really encouraged. Love you too, buddy.